Director of the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Zoe Lyons. Good morning, Zoe.
Good morning.
Great to have you back.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
The department and the state are committed to building a trauma-informed Michigan.
Right.
So what does that mean?
That means that we want to teach people that how we respond to each other in a way that is more empathetic can really change how the world really revolves together, so that we decrease anxiety, we decrease negative conversations, judgment, and by sort of understanding where trauma comes from, then we create a safer, better place.
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping for.
What is a traumatic event, or what's defined as a traumatic event?
Well, so many things can be traumatic, right? And it depends individually on us. What you might find traumatic might not be for me, right? And vice versa. However, there was a study done in the mid-1990s called the Adverse Childhood Experiences Study. And so they found 10 types of trauma, childhood traumas, and they kind of have risen to the top over and over again. The study's been replicated and duplicated many times, and it's the same things. So it's different forms of child abuse and neglect, and then types of what we call sort of household dysfunction or household trauma. So things like somebody in your home who is a substance user, somebody, or domestic violence that happens in your home, even parental separation or divorce is an adverse childhood experience. So what we've been doing here in Jackson for the last, 7 years or so, Dr. Bob Powell from Family Service and Children's Aid, he and I are trainers for adverse childhood experiences, and our goal is to get out there and teach people what this is with the goal of preventing them.
So people that grew up in a healthy and happy household, they can't believe that there's more than a small percentage of people who might have been raised in trauma, but you found otherwise.
Right. Well, the study has shown us that about 67%, so the study in the mid-90s, 67% of the population of the study. So also important in that study is it was largely white, middle class, college educated and employed folks, because they used a group from a health system. But again, that study's been replicated, and so when you sort of spread it out to the entire population, more than 67%. And then the recent data in Michigan is 68% of Michigan adults indicate that they've had one or more adverse childhood experiences.
I was reading in the notes you sent over about the 7 positive childhood experience, and again, Bart, it may seem like something simple to you and I, but very important.
Very, very important, and that's really where we're moving into now. So we want folks in the community to be aware of ACEs because we want to prevent them, right? We want to stop those things from happening in the first place. But the new research, the positive childhood experiences, is a counterbalance to the ACEs. So even if you've had some of the adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, that's what we call them, then you with these positive experiences, you don't have the negative outcomes. So what the study showed is that long term, people have higher risk of health problems, mental health problems, substance abuse problems, and with positive childhood experiences, it minimizes that.
And this is really a support and service for helping folks get to adulthood easier.
Yeah. So the 7 positive childhood experiences, I'm going to go through what those 7 are. Okay.
Yeah,
so the first 2 are having an adult in your family that you can talk to. So having an adult that you can talk to about things that are concerning to you, or really when you're having difficult times. And those could be, issues at school with friends, or it could be I'm struggling with my gender identity. There's all kinds of issues that kids have. The other one is a sense of enjoyment in community traditions. So Jackson has so many things, right? Fireworks for kids 3 times this summer. We have the balloon festival. We have the Gus Macker. Do kids enjoy those? Are there enough things that kids are part of? And if not, we sort of challenge the community, like, let's create those, right? Then there's some things about school. feeling a sense of belonging in high school, and then also feeling supported by friends. So we really talk about anti-bullying campaigns. We talked about those a lot years ago. Now it's really, there's no time to decrease that.
I agree.
Yeah, and it can happen electronically now. You don't even have to be in a space with some. And also, no child should be sitting alone at the lunchroom at school.
Don't get me started.
I know. And then the one that we talk about all the time is having a caring adult in your life. So we hope that's your parents, and if not, grandparents, aunts and uncles, teachers, coaches, like anyone in our community can be a caring adult for a child. And then the last one is feeling safe and protected by an adult in your home.
A lot of these things sound the basic and simple, right, to a lot of people, but to your point, there are a lot of people that just don't have that.
Right.
Well, when you hear about these, things that happen, school shootings, as an example, you hear about the childhood of the perpetrator, and it's always bad.
Right.
They had a horrible, something happened.
There's a lot of the similarities to.
I think the research says about 95% of those, someone has had a adverse childhood experiences in their history, and access to a gun and mental health crisis.
Right.
So it's not only that, but we're really working. We want our Jackson community to really just know what these are and try to embed them in everything that they do.
So you do that as a family. You give it some thought and make some concerted effort to provide that for your kids.
Right.
But how can the whole community, what are things that the whole community can do?
Well, look at this list of 7 things. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is we're going to be passing this list out to everyone. So we're in the process of creating some just handouts. My staff will be giving them out. We're going to get them out to the schools and have them give them to the parents. We're looking at maybe some posters that we can create so they can just be hanging, when you're waiting for your food, you can be reading, or waiting to sit in a restaurant. And just really kind of say, what is it that I can do? It's not just your own kids, it's your friends' kids, right? Or your kids' friends. So both ways work. Could be my friends from college have their own kids, and we're like aunts and uncles to those kids, right? Also, my kids bring friends home, and maybe they need me to be a caring adult in their lives.
One individual can affect many lives for sure.
Many, yes.
Yeah, the bullying in school, so, it breaks people's hearts to hear about kids that end up becoming withdrawn and antisocial because they are being picked on. Are you seeing schools make efforts, and are there ways that the community can participate in anti-bullying?
Oh, absolutely. So one of the things is Dr. Bob and I have been to, I think, every school system here in Jackson, and we've actually been very involved in the Owasso area, and we've been doing the schools up in Owasso, and there's master trainers all over the state, which is also great. It's not just Dr. Bob and I, there's hundreds of us around the state doing this. And so, and the schools they're hungry for it. They want this information.
Schools don't want bullying within their walls, of course not.
Yeah. So having an understanding about where it comes from is really important, why kids behave a certain way, and then also what are the things that we can do to just help them get through their day differently. And by helping them get through their day, it's helping the teachers and all the other kids in the classroom as well.
Yeah, I know it drives teachers nuts, and it's just one more thing that teachers are concerned about and have to have their eye on all of that going on.
Yeah.
So maybe you can volunteer to be a lunchroom monitor and make sure that there's not a kid there that's eating lunch alone.
Very good idea.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we'll be seeing these initiatives roll out, and everyone can play a part in some way of providing positive childhood experiences to every kid in our community.
Everyone.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zoe.
Thank you.
The Jackson Director of the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Zoe Lyons. More of the morning show after this.